Previously on Dr. Brian shows you how to properly service your lawn machine. Sometimes you just gotta show them how it's done.
And it has a knobby head, makes it real easy to like stick it in. I'm gonna set up the shot and I'm gonna show you how I take my knobby head and I stick it in this blind hole and twist it around. You just kind of work your stubby, just like any other man would work his stubby when he's in a blind hole like this. I pulled out too early is what I did. So don't be like me and pull out too early. You know, try it. You got it. You know, it feels good. And you'll know when it feels good, because you can feel it in your hands, right? All right, YouTube, so I'm back trying to set up this next shot, and I'm gonna do the next thing, which is the fuel filter. And the first thing you gotta do, and what I'm trying to show on screen is, I gotta take off this side panel here. And I need to do it anyway, because later on I gotta take off the oil filter, which is behind it, but the fuel filter's on the other side of this panel as well, and I gotta take this side panel off and I gotta hit up this bolt right here. All right, so hopefully y'all can kind of see where I'm at. I'm gonna try and get after that bolt that I showed to you there, and you know, it's kind of a small bolt. I think it is an 8mm head, which is kind of small, and that's okay. But what makes this a real challenge is how deep it is in there, right? And so while I was off camera, I did get a question and answer type of situation from my one subscriber, and they said, Mr. Brian, I'm kind of curious at well, what brand name is your stubby? And you know, quite simply, my stubby is actually a Husky, as you can see here. I prefer a Husky stubby at the end of the day, and I think the machine does as well when I work on it. You know, like I got my 8mm socket from this stubby Husky on here, but as you can see, I'm going to try and come in tight, and I can't even hardly work with that, right? And so I don't know if you know this, but here's a pro tip. Sometimes when you got a stubby Husky like this, sometimes you just gotta, like, you know, get a helper, and sometimes you just gotta get a friend, right? And this Husky stubby's friend is this extension guy, and he just kind of goes on there like that, and it adds a whole lot of length to the situation. And you put my 8mm head on the end of this, boom, and now with this added length, this machine is going to be real happy with what I'm about to do to it, right? Come in on the bolt and twist it, twist it, twist it. Yeah, sometimes you got to finish with your hand. You know what I'm saying? It's just a little bit easier. All that length is nice, but sometimes it takes an extra hand to get in there and get this panel off. And so I got the bolt loose. I slide off the panel, and it's just like that. It's just one bolt. That's all you got to do. And now we are going to work on this fuel filter that you see here. Now, like I was saying before in the previous segment, is that the fuel filter is a one-way flow. And so the gasoline tank is that away, and the fuel flow is that away. It's going from the gasoline tank to the engine. And matter of fact, if you just want to learn a little bit more, this is the fuel pump right here. And it's been clicking like a chicken ever since I bought it, thankfully. But I ain't afraid to change it if I have to, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. But anyway, that is what is going to pull that fuel through the fuel filter and all the way back to the fuel tank on this lawn machine, right? So, you know, just to kind of let you know, this fuel filter, as you can kind of probably see in the video, is full of gasoline, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. And you're going to probably get a little bit of gasoline on yourself when you take the clamps off and remove the filter. And it's going, you know, that filter's on there pretty good. It's a tight fit into those tubes, right? And it's got some plastic barbs on there because it's going to want to stay connected to the tube. And you're just gonna have to pull real hard to get that fuel filter off. But like, you also have to remember, not only is this filter filled with gasoline, but like, you're sure to bet that there's gasoline all up and down this hose this way and all up and down this hose this way. And you know what's gonna happen is I'm gonna release this clamp and I'm gonna pull that back on the hose. And if I was to go at that point and pull this hose off, you're gonna get all of this back pressure and flow of the gasoline. It's gonna be all over the place. It's gonna be a mess. So, you know, my daddy always told me that you need to probably pinch your hose off before you pull it back, right? And so I think that's good advice. And he said if you are pinching it real good, you should only have a little bit of a dribble when you put it away. And so that's kind of what we're going for. And I'm going to show you how to pinch your hose, all right? And the way you pinch your hose, and you know, the preferable way to pinch your hose is if you use your hands. But sometimes you need a helper. And I'm going to show you how to help your hands get enough pressure to pinch off your hose. And you use what you got, one of these doodads here, right? It's like a little clamp, and you kind of set it. It's like forceps, right? You just pinch off your hose, and then you set it, and it's going to hold all that back pressure of the gasoline coming out of that hose. So that's what I'm fixing to do. I'm going to use a ratchet and a socket to loosen up this clamp here that I installed aftermarket. And it just so happens the right size is 8mm socket, which is what I use to take the cover off, if you remember correctly. And as you can see, my Husky stubby's still got the extension length on there, which my machine was really happy about having on there when I was taking the cover off. But as you can see, it isn't really that convenient, and you don't really need all this length just to kind of get in here and do what you got to do. So there's a time and a place where you can just tell your friend to kind of hit the road, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tell that friend to hit the road, and I'm gonna put the socket on the end of my short stubby, and I'm gonna do it myself. I don't need a helper. You know what? I got a feeling that I'm not gonna have enough clearance to slide that down the hose. And as I've been pulling on it, I can kind of see that the hose is actually starting to separate from the fuel filter. So I'm actually in an unsafe place because I have not pinched off my hose yet. So let's rectify that situation right now. Pinch that hose just like my daddy told me. Slide this dude back. Make sure that it is set and tight. I think I got a good pinch on there. And you know what? I'm just gonna go for it. And you're probably gonna see a little bit of a dribble of gasoline come out of here as I pull this off the barb. Yeah, just like I suspected. But the good news is that I got my pinched hose holding all this back pressure of gasoline back. And you know, most of the gasoline that you saw come out on the video actually came out of the fuel filter. So no harm, no foul. All right. I got it. Okay, so you seen that I got that pushed down off the place where it was clamped onto the barb on the outside of this hose. And so at this point, it's just a twist and pull on your hose is what you want to do. I got a lot of experience at doing a twist and pull on my hose, and I'm showing you how it's done. And so hopefully after you watch me do a little twist and pull on my hose, you'll be able to go back to your lawn machine and do a little twist and pull on your hose as well. And you'll see it's not that hard. It's easier to work with a hose that is soft and supple, like you see here. You know, the older you get with a hose, the more stiff it tends to be with age. But at the end of the day, that stiffness turns into brittle, and brittle will start to crack. And you know, when you start to have a cracked hose, you may want to go look at getting a replacement. Just saying. All right. So I got the fuel filter liberated. You'll see that a lot of that gasoline actually went back into the hose and probably back towards the tank, which is fine by me. Now that's wet, and you can't just discard this into the normal garbage. So this is hazardous material, but I'm gonna set that aside and take care of that later. Now what we gotta do is we gotta assemble the fuel filter, and like I was saying earlier, is that it's a one-way flow, and the factory is kind enough. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on the video when I'm going to turn this fuel filter back and forth. They got an arrow, and the arrow points the way in the direction of the fuel flow. And you know, if there's ever any shadow of a doubt, you've seen how you just pulled the fuel filter out of your hose. You just, you know, do same and just put the new filter back in the same spot in the same configuration. So it's about as simple as that. Right? All right. And we're just gonna finish it off and make sure that this clamp just stays attached until next season, when it's time to do this annual maintenance again. Yeah, all right. You don't have to get crazy with it. It's plastic. It's gonna hold on tight. So that's it for the fuel filter.